Welcome to the monthly Q&A video where I give you the ability to ask me about life, hobbies, wrestling, anything really. This is a monthly series, so if you want to be featured in next month's Q&A video, make sure that you're following me on X. I give you all the ability to ask me questions at the end of the month. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I am confident that you're going to fall in love with his YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And if you want even more wrestling content, in case you didn't know, we also upload the Wrestling is Cool podcast right here to YouTube Friday mornings. That means that on Fridays I upload twice, so sometimes the main video gets lost in the algorithm and sometimes the podcast gets lost in the algorithm. Obviously I'm biased because it's my podcast and I'm one of the hosts, but I really love the podcast and I think that you will too. So just give at least this recent episode a chance. It's available for free right now on this same YouTube page. All right, let's jump into your questions now. Will you record your Summerslam reactions from the arena? In case you didn't know, I'm going to be going to this year's Summerslam, and this will be the first WWE Premium Live event that I personally attend since, ironically, a different Summerslam, but all the way back in 2019. I'm just somebody that prefers to watch wrestling shows from home. I typically believe that it's the better experience, but the card for this year's Summerslam and the fact that I had a sponsorship opportunity to actually go, I jumped on it. I absolutely needed to go, and I'm excited because I'm even going to be close to the ring where I'm going to be able to get some awesome footage for you guys. So will I be recording my reactions? 1000% I will. And on top of that, I'm also going to be recording and vlogging my entire experience in the stadium, at SmackDown, maybe at indie shows, at WrestleCon, around Cleveland. So if you see my dumbass walking around vlogging, please feel free to stop me and say hi. Just don't give me an oil bottle because I will throw hands. Would you rather have Cena break the record or LA Knight never win singles titles? Look, LA Knight has been fine without any singles gold, and I think that he will continue to be fine without any singles gold. This guy is ridiculously popular regardless of whether he's winning major singles accolades or not. But John Cena's legacy is on the line here, folks. John Cena is a name that will be talked about for decades to come, and I don't think that LA Knight is one of those guys on the same level as Cena in terms of future WWE historians and lore. Like, we need to cement Cena's legacy, and, you know, to be a bit cheesy, the time is now to be able to do this. And obviously you asked a guy that is uber biased when it comes to this because I'm the John Cena mark on this platform, and I'm not ashamed to show those colors. I want Cena to cement his legacy and become the 17th time world champion and finally just end the debate with Ric Flair and just let's have Cena at the top of the mountain of WWE. Have you been noticing the up and coming content creators, and what are your thoughts on other people doing what you do, being the best at it, of course? Thank you for the compliment. And yes, I have been noticing other content creators that are starting to sprout, and I think that overall that is fantastic. The more people that do what I do, it means that the more legitimate that it becomes as a medium of entertainment, the more legitimate that it becomes as an actual niche within the internet. I remember all the way back in 2009 when it was weird to find a gaming channel, and now gaming is the biggest thing pretty much on the entirety of YouTube and other platforms like Twitch. And I don't think that wrestling will ever get that day, but if we ever want to even sniff the boots of a niche like gaming, we need more people to jump into the space. I'm not somebody that's concerned or afraid of competition. I want as many people to do this as possible. Have I been noticing them? Absolutely. What do I think about them? I think that there are some that will rise to the top and some that are being lazy and doing the easiest, lowest hanging fruit type of content possible that just are not going to rise to the top. So when it comes to advice, I think that people should not take the easy route and they should do more scripted content on YouTube that is a lot more difficult and a lot more time consuming, but certainly more scalable than just like doing reactions. What are your favorite storylines in the WWE right now? I'll just whittle it down to my favorite storyline, and really it's between two, and both of them happen to be on Monday Night Raw. Part of the reason why Monday Night Raw is just so much better than Friday Night SmackDown because it's got all the best storylines. It's either Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan involving or featuring Dominic Mysterio and his tendies, or the CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins saga. Ultimately, I am going to go with that because it's been in the oven longer, and Clearly, the WWE wants you to be as hot as possible for this storyline in this feud, because they were willing to burn the Money in the Bank briefcase like for this, which was already, like the hottest feud there was. So there is no doubt in my mind that the WWE sees this as their premier like storyline and feud going into SummerSlam, and it shows. And to me, it's the best thing going on in all of wrestling. Do you think Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns are returning at SummerSlam? If Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes is closing the show, then absolutely. That storyline does not have the legs to justify it closing the show when you have other storylines that are significantly better. We already talked about two, Rhea Liv, as well as CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, but you can throw Gunther and Damian Priest in there as feuds that I'm frankly just more interested in than this. We don't have an official match for it as of the making of this video, but Chad Gable and the Wyatt Six is also a more interesting feud than what's going on between Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa. If that closes the show, it has to be because Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman are returning. It is the only way for that to be a satisfactory end to such a major show with such a lackluster feud of a match, which is again Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa. It needs an accent at the end. It needs an exclamation mark, and that exclamation mark is Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. If this is not the main event, then I think it's very likely that we don't get Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman returning. And it's crazy to think that really the only reason why this could be a main event feud is because of a guy that's not even been involved in the storyline between these two guys. That's kind of the fundamental problem with the storyline to begin with, that it surrounds a guy that's not been around. So if this closes the show, it has to have Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. No ifs, ands, or buts. If Cody's inevitable feud with The Rock randomly got canceled today, how would you book the rest of Cody's championship reign from here on out? I think you immediately have to pivot to the other major plan, which is Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. To me, that is such a WrestleMania-worthy match, WrestleMania-worthy feud, that you can instantly just shift your direction that way. I don't think that you need to really move heaven and earth to make that happen. And something tells me that that is the contingency plan in case The Rock is not able to go, in case The Rock all of a sudden has some sort of major injury or major conflict in terms of his scheduling. I think it's interesting that when the news broke out of The Rock's elbow injury, that's when we started to see Randy Orton look at the title, with a little bit of lust. So I do think that that is contingency plan B in the event that Cody Rhodes and The Rock can't happen. Either way, Randy and Cody is happening at some point or another. Favorite NXT superstar? I'm really between two guys right now. Javon Evans and Obafemi, to me, are just generational in terms of what they're able to do. And what's interesting is that they're like complete polar opposite. We have Obafemi, who is a freaking tank, and then we have Javon Evans, who, as his entrance theme will tell you, is bouncy. So they are polar opposites in terms of the type of wrestling that they bring, but they're just both so highly entertaining. In terms of character work, I think that the work that Lexis King is doing is like top tier heel work. So I think those are the three names that I would toss out at the moment right now. I know you've said before that you used to be a wrestling fan with no one to share your thoughts with. How did you get through that? I'm currently in that boat right now too. Well, here's the ironic thing. You're clearly not in that boat because you just sent this message and now we're having a conversation in an interaction that could have been about wrestling. That's the beauty of the landscape of wrestling fandom nowadays, where you can hop on Twitter, you can hop on TikTok, you can hop in the YouTube comments and have those interactions real time about things that are happening in wrestling. When I was younger, and I'm talking like back in like 2005 when I was a kid, all the way even into like my late teen years in 2010 and 2011, the only real place you could go would be like internet forums if you wanted to have those real-time conversations, because the social media landscape just wasn't the same as it was today. You, on the other hand, you have the ability to interact with anyone at any moment about anything going on in the world of professional wrestling. It's not the same, of course, as having somebody with you in the room, but at least it's something, which is something that I never personally had. When are we getting Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan on Match Club? I love doing comedy matches on Match Club, so here's what I'll do. I will put this in the voting pool for this upcoming week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club on Patreon. If you want to know more information, here is more information. Editor, put the Patreon stuff in right now.
He does. Why would you wear
Whoa!
fake? Oh, look at that.
See? Okay.
Time. Oh.
That was cool. Through. Get the pin, Cena.
Go.
Oh my God.
Oh God. Then Roman's.
Folks, that was a sneak peek of this week's Wrestling is Cool Summerslam Match Club, which is available exclusively over on patreon.com/SantiZap. This week, we're looking at Ricochet versus AJ Styles, SummerSlam 2019. The 2016 WWE Championship match between Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler. The SummerSlam Classic at SummerSlam 2016 between John Cena and AJ Styles. A street fight between Dominic Mysterio and Seth Rollins at SummerSlam 2020. And the iconic SummerSlam 2022 main event between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. You're going to get those 5 watch-alongs alongside the Raw review, the SmackDown review, and the podcast 3 days early. That's 8 pieces of extra content, all available on patreon.com/SantiZap. I'll put the link at the top of the description or in the pinned comment, but I'm confident that if you even give it 1 month that you're going to fall in love with it. Now back to the video. Are the rumors true? Will the daily wrestling videos end at the end of the year? Yeah, cat's out of the bag. That is currently the plan. But what's crazy is that me reducing my schedule would be going from 7 videos a week down to like 6. So I'm only trying to get, a day or 2 days off of focusing on posting on YouTube, because it really is just such a difficult, grinding schedule to focus on daily videos on YouTube. It's very, very hard to be able to maintain that. My original plan was to do it for a year. I've already surpassed that, but I do think that at some point I have to be able to tone it down so that I can live a life at some point or another. And I think that at the end of 2024, I will go back down to posting 5 YouTube videos plus the podcast, which would bring me to 6 videos on YouTube per week. So it's not as if I'm going down to like 1 or 2 videos a week, but eventually down the line, which will be at the end of this year, I will be making that transition for my own personal mental and physical health, frankly. What is your favorite bad match of all time? Like one is bad, but for some reason still enjoy. This is not another Patreon plug, but it just so happens to be that I just watched it on Patreon for the Wrestling is Cool Match Club, that being Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan at SummerSlam 2005. I remembered this match as being unwatchable because of Shawn Michaels basically like hijacking the match, throwing a hissy fit, and just overselling everything for the purposes of making the match look bad. But as we rewatched it on Patreon for the Match Club, I was digging it. I was loving it. Even the overselling was working for me. So I'm going to say that. What is your favorite Royal Rumble match in history? This might be recency bias, but man, that 2024 Women's Royal Rumble is actually insane when you think about it. Not only did it have returns like Liv Morgan returning, but it also had debuts. For example, Jade Cargill. We also had a major return from a different wrestling company in Naomi, and then a Forbidden Door entry in Jordynne Grace. Like, that is insane. On top of that, we got the winner that everyone wanted. Everyone wanted it to be Bayley, and she almost went the distance from number 3 all the way to the end. To me, it was a perfectly booked Royal Rumble that had all of the makings of what makes Royal Rumble matches so great. Returns from injury, shock debuts, return from hiatuses. Dude, that Rumble to me is perfect. Who is your pick for the Men's Royal Rumble in this very moment, and who do you see as a possible surprise in the Rumble? My winner is also the surprise for the Rumble. I think it would be The Rock. I think The Rock would put himself in a position to get a championship opportunity with Cody Rhodes, if that is still the plan. So I'm going to go with The Rock as the current betting favorite to go into the Rumble and win it. What's a feud you want to see Shinsuke Nakamura in? Literally any feud. Dude, I don't care if it's against Invisible Stan. I'll take anything that they're willing to give Nakamura at this point, because this man has completely gone missing on Friday Night SmackDown. But the real answer is AJ Styles. I want them to revisit that, and I want them to do it right this time. time since Vince McMahon's not around to ruin it. Best and worst Def Rebel music. I think it's easy to say the best. The best is the Tribal Chief theme from Roman Reigns. Like, that thing to me is quite literal perfection. But in terms of worst, Jesus Christ, man, take your pick, because there are so many. I do not like DIYs. We are. I don't like Braun Breaker's old one. They kind of redid it. I do not like, I like Javon Evans, but Javon Evans is, yup boy is bouncy. There's just so many bad ones. So honestly, take your pick. Most of them are pretty terrible. What has been the most difficult part of uploading daily for over a year now? I think a lot of people would think ideas, but that's usually not the case. It's really just about managing that schedule with my personal life, because at the end of the day, like, I don't want to be an internet gremlin that's just always in front of their computer at all times. So it is difficult to be able to balance, my personal life and my social life with this grueling daily schedule. Like, even when I travel, I will still do daily videos. You guys saw at the end of 2023 when I was in Portugal for 10 days, you guys were still getting daily uploads. When I go to Summerslam, you're still gonna get daily uploads. So even when I'm on vacation and traveling, I don't get to fully enjoy it and turn off the, like the YouTuber work mode, because I have this grueling schedule, as there's this freaking fly that's been annoying me all video somewhere in here. Freaking, come on, show your face. All right, I'll get you later. But yeah, it's just being able to balance everything. Do you think Dolph Ziggler can have an effective run if he were to go back to the WWE? Can he? Absolutely. It's Dolph frickin' Ziggler. Would he? Absolutely not, because it's Dolph frickin' Ziggler. Like, dude, they had him for well over a decade and they weren't able to do anything with him. He's over in TNA killing it and nothing's changed. It's not as if he's like turned on this different new gear, this new persona. It's just Dolph Ziggler, now Nick Namath, cooking in a company that recognizes that he is a star, and the WWE clearly just never saw that. So even if he were to go back to the WWE now, I don't think that would change. Why? Dude, that is the question that I ask every day as to why so many damn people want me to oil up. All right, folks, that's it for the Q&A video. That's it. Bye. Yeah, see ya. Take care. Bye.